A day at the arcade. I snap out of the flashback of my confession to find myself once again in reality. I start to think about how much that day meant to me, and I can't help but want to do something for Nanami. "Hey, Nanami," I begin to call out to her, but quickly cut myself short as I realize that I don't actually have any plan as to what I want to do with her yet. However, Nanami has already heard me, and I realize I have about 3 seconds to think of something. "Yes, Kaito?" she asked me with a look of curiosity. "Ah, I was just, I can hear my voice begin to trail off as I desperately try to find something to say. Unfortunately, my impatience has left me with no other choice, and I'm forced to come clean. I wanted to do something for you, but I was wanting it to be a surprise. I guess that isn't going to happen now. Sorry." The words leave my mouth with an awful taste. "Well, you do realize you could have just told me you had something you wanted to do, and just left it at that. Sometimes I wonder about what is going on in that head of yours," she responds normally, and yet I can hear her laughing just by looking into her eyes. All right. Well, you know I'm awful under pressure. I'm just going to go with this was unavoidable," I quickly reply back, annoyed at the fact that I have ruined my own plan. We arrive at the arcade shortly after our talk had ended, the bright smile on Nanami's face showing clearly as we walk through the front doors. For most people, an arcade might not seem like that awesome of a place to go on a date. But if you knew us, then you would know there is no other place. I've enjoyed games ever since I was a kid, and it's one of the things I love the most in this world, so I would always find myself returning back here growing up. Nanami, on the other hand, is a whole nother level. She was practically born to be a gamer, and it wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that she can almost always be found playing one. We haven't even been in the arcade for a full minute, and yet Nanami has already attached her hands to the first machine she could find. As much as I enjoy watching her geek out as she runs around the room with eyes sparkling like that of a little kid, I myself have a game that I've been dying to play. Like I mentioned before, the arcade has always been a home away from home for me, and there is one game in particular that I can't help but return to every time that I get the chance. It's called The Dungeon's Curse, and in it you are an explorer who has found himself trapped in a maze filled with monsters and ancient treasures. You use a joystick to guide your character through the maze, and the objective is to collect as much treasure as possible before meeting your untimely demise. However, the thing that makes this game so fun is the curse mentioned in the title of the game. You see, the curse is a random debuff to your character that affects not only the game character, but the player as well. Basically, what happens is the curse of the game is randomized, and at the end of the game you are given a raffle ticket that correlates with the curse. Most of the tickets can only be redeemed for a few extra coins or for a small prize at the redemption center at the front. But if you get the extremely rare blindness curse, the entire screen goes black, and the game pretty much becomes an instant loss for the player, leading to the player being given a matching black raffle ticket. This ticket immediately gets you removed from the arcade, but you are given a brand new arcade machine of your choosing. In all my years of playing, I've never given up the hope of one day getting the rare ticket. But as my random curse is assigned, I'm yet again met with another common curse. I know it might be silly to return to an arcade game over and over for the chance of winning something with such a slim chance, but I can't help but give it into its call. I grab my ticket and walk back over to Nanami, who has now gone through several machines in the arcade in the time it took me to get through just one round of my favorite game. Yet, I'm used to seeing her like this, so I slip half of my coins into her cup. If I'm being entirely honest, I normally just watch her play for the majority of the time, because seeing the intense focused look she has while playing is more enjoyable to me than any game in the entire arcade. Finally, the time for us to leave has come, and we get a few small items from the front before our date officially comes to a close. Like usual, I just got as much candy as I could, because I've always found that I never do anything with the prizes I get, and normally end up losing them anyway. Nanami, on the other hand, has a bunch of small plastic toys, all of which look way too brightly colored. As we are leaving the arcade, I can see that the sun is starting to set, and the distance in the horizon is beautiful. As the romantic I proclaim myself to be, I use this moment to grab hold of Nanami's hand in mine, and we walk silently side by side the rest of the way. We finally arrive at Nanami's house, and by now the stars are shining brightly above. I walk Nanami up to the door, and am beginning to turn away when I hear her say something softly. Kaito, thanks for today. It means a lot. Her words seem so upbeat, but I can tell that her voice tells another story. I know a lot of the times I can be a pain, so when you do things like this, when you go out of your way to show me you care, it makes me feel special. I take a second to process her words, before I say, but Nanami, to me you have always been special, so doing things like this just feels natural. With that, we begin our kissing under the stars, and our date ends perfectly.